Another Tuesday night, we are live. UFC Vegas 50. Magomed Ankalaev versus Thiago Santos be the main event. I left one fight out on the main card. I left Terrence McKinney, Drew Dober fight out just because that's a late, short notice announced fight. So I didn't want to preview it. I felt like it's pretty, when you get to the top 15, you take short notice fights, it's kind of one-sided unless their skills are that close. I really didn't want to go back and forth with the Terrence McKinney, Drew Dober thing. But Alex Biera versus Bruno Silva kicks off the main card. Pierre's 33-7 as a professional kickboxer and 4-1 as a professional mixed martial artist. 21 wins by knockout in kickboxing, and then all 4 of his MMA wins are via knockout as well. He lost his MMA debut by submission to Quimel Atoni in 2015. He's 1-0 in the UFC with a TKO win over Andres Michailidis. He's 2-0 against Israel Adesanya, UFC middleweight champion in kickboxing, and also has a win over Dustin Jacoby in his kickboxing career. He's coming in at the same height, but he's going to have a 6-inch reach advantage over Bruno Silva. Bruno Silva is 22-6 as a professional mixed martial artist, 19 wins by knockout, 5 out of 6 of his losses via submission, 3-0 in the UFC with TKO wins over Wellington Turman, Andrew Sanchez, and Jordan Wright. He is 2-0 in M1 over Alexander Shlemenko and Artem Frivolov. He is the former M1 Global middleweight champion and won Performance of the Night in 2 out of his 3 UFC fights so far. Bruno Silva is a very exciting striker. Alex Casera is a well-decorated kickboxer. It's going to be good to see which one of these guys can use their favoritism and their styles to win this fight. Pierre is definitely. This fight is definitely going to be standing. Either way you put it, unless Bruno Silva falls in love with the wrestling in this training camp and feels like the wrestling can defeat Pierre, I think he's going to keep it standing, which only plays into Pierre's strength. So this is a tough one, but I'm going to say this. I'm picking a lot of underdogs on the main card. I haven't really looked into the prelims that much yet. I'll do that within the next few days. But I'm picking a bunch of underdogs. So might as well pick an underdog here as well. I'm going to go Bruno Silva via knockout. And probably I would say the way he's going to do that is he might take him down. He might get him on the ground and use his MMA experience in ground and pound and things like that, and what he's learned in lesson and in wrestling to be able to keep him there. Khalil Round, I think I got the fucking hiccups. Worst time. Khalil Roundtree Jr. versus Carl Robinson again. What looks like from the outside looking in like a great kickboxing match. Khalil Roundtree coming from more of a Muay Thai background. Carl Robinson, of course, coming from a kickboxing background. Carl Robinson's 9-4, 4-4 in the UFC with his UFC wins, including Roman Kopylov, Wellington Turman, and Darren Stewart. He won his contract on the Contender Series of 2017 with a knockout win over Ryan Spann. All 4 of his professional losses via submission, and he's on a 2-fight losing streak right now with back-to-back submission losses to Marvin Vittori and Brandon Allen. His opponent, Khalil Roundtree, is 9-5-1 as a professional with 6 wins by knockout. He is 5-5-1 in the UFC with UFC wins over Budakis, Eric Anders, Gokhan Saki, and then Paul Craig. His biggest losses are to Marcin Prashino, Ion Kutulaba, and Johnny Walker. He's coming into this fight with a 2.5-inch reach advantage. Very, very evenly matched as far as the striking goes. I think Khalil Roundtree is going to come in with more power behind his strikes. Carl Robinson might have a little bit of a speed advantage, but I'm going to go, again, another underdog, plus 110, so it's a lot closer, but I'm going to go Khalil Roundtree in that one as well. This is going to be another one. Sadiq Youssef versus Alex Casera. Sadiq Youssef is 11-2 as a pro, 6-1 by knockout. He's never had a professional fight end in submission. He's 4-1 in the UFC. He lost his most recent fight via decision to Arnold Allen. And his biggest UFC wins include Andre Fili, Gabriel Benitez, And Shaman Moraes, we all know he won his contract on the Contender Series over Mike Davis. He's got a 2.5-inch reach disadvantage going against Alex Casera, and he's a blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Alex Casera is 19-12-1, so he has about 32 professional fights to Yusuf's 13 professional fights. Caceres has been in the UFC since 2011. He's currently on a 5-fight winning streak right now with wins over Sing Woo Choi, Kevin Kroom, Austin Springer, Chase Hooper, and Steven Peterson. He's 7-7 by submission and it's only been knocked out once in his 12 losses in his professional career. Out of his 25 UFC fights, he's won 3 Fight of the Night bonuses and 3 Performance of the Night bonuses. I think what we seen in his most recent fights was that he is able to grapple Chase Hooper and Steven Peterson. He was able to grapple to get his wins. So you can see if he's going to come out banging. He's going to come out like a striker. Alex Caceres. So this one I'm going to take it back. So this one, Alex Caceres is predominantly a striker. He's good at judo. He's got great hands, but he has been getting better grappling. I think that the line ends with Sadiq Yusuf. I think he's able to stop the takedown and get himself a knockout, or even just outstrike him to the point where he wins a decision. Harlem Moraes versus Seong Yong. Another really, really, really close fight, hard to pick fight. Moraes is 23-9, currently on a 3-fight losing streak right now, with all 3 losses being knockouts against Corey Sandhagen, Rob Font, and Merab Devashili. He is 5-5 in the UFC, with his biggest UFC wins being over Jose Aldo, Rafael Assunção, Jimmy Rivera, and Aljamain Sterling. He's 10-6 by knockout. He is the former World Series of Fighting bantamweight champion. He had 5 consecutive title defenses when he held that title. He was 11-0 in World Series of Fighting, and he's won the Performance of the Night bonus 3 times in the UFC. He's a black belt in Muay Thai, black belt in Jiu-Jitsu. He's going up against Seong Yong, who is 18-5, 1-1, 7-1-1 in the UFC. He's on a 2-fight winning streak right now with a split decision over Casey Kenny and a TK over Julio Arce in his most recent fight. He's got 7 wins via knockout, 3 wins via submission, and has never been submitted in his career. He's only been knocked out once out of his 5 professional losses. He's 8-3 by decision, and he's won Fight of the Night once and Performance of the Night 3 times in the UFC. Seong Yong, here's why I'm going to go Seong Yong, and I'm not going to go underdog once again, because I was going to go Marlon Moraes, but I was on the fence. But I'm going to go Seong Yong because when the fights are close and the fights are he's won, I'd say 3 or 4 times in the UFC where there were split decision wins. It could have gone either way. A lot of people thought he lost those fights, but he got the win. So he's got kind of like a weird streak going with split decisions. So I think if the fight is going to be that close to where there's a possibility it could be a split decision, where it's really going to be that close, I think Seong Yong's an easy pick there. Santos versus Ankalaev. Ankalaev 16-1, only loss being a submission loss to Paul Craig in his UFC debut. He's 7-0 since that fight. He's got knockout wins over Ion Cutelaba, and then two knockout wins over Ion Cutelaba. Of course, the one where Cutelaba was kind of faking being hurt, and then the referee stopped it. They gave him the rematch. He got sparked, out cold, knocked out, and then he won 2 decisions after that to Nikita Krylov and Volkan Oezdemir. He's got 9 wins by knockout, 7 wins by decision. So he's got very good hands. He's got power in his hands. He's not your regular Dagestani type of fighter where he's going to strike with you a lot more than he's going to wrestle with you. Thiago Santos, 22-9, won his most recent fight by decision against Johnny Walker in October. He's 4-3 since moving to light heavyweight. Those 3 losses are to John Jones for the title, Glover Teixeira, who is now the light heavyweight champion, and Alexander Rakic, who is a rising star in the light heavyweight division. His other 2 light heavyweight wins over Han Blachowicz, former light heavyweight champion, and Jimmy Manawa. 15 wins by knockout. 3 out of 9 of his losses are via knockout, and he's 1-3 by submission. Not that I think this fight is going to the ground, but I do think that a third of his losses are via knockout, and if this fight's going to remain standing, that's very, very dangerous for Thiago Santos. I think this one, again, another hard one to pick, but I got to go Ankalaev, man. I think he's going to continue his run here, and if the striking gets that deep into the fight, 4th, 5th round, I think Ankalaev has enough to to edge himself out of decision. He's got great cardio as well. We talked about Drew Dober and Terrence McKinney being on this card. Matthew Smellsberger will be taking on AJ Fletcher. JJ Aldrich will be going up against Jillian Robinson, who's looking to make another run at the title. Trevin Jones going up against Javed Basharat. I like Basharat coming into the UFC. Damon Jackson going against Kamela Kirk. Sabina Mazo will be taking on Miranda Maverick. DeLucha Lugambula will be taking on Cody Brimridge. Guido Canetti will be going up against Chris Montino. He'll be making his, I think, second or third UFC fight. And then Tefan and Twiki will be going up against Azmat Mirzarakanov. So, really deep card. Again, I'm going to pull it up. I always fucking forget to pull it up. But we're going to pull it up to see. I think there might be another pay-per-view coming up. No, wrong. March 19th, they are going to London, England. Tom Aspinall versus Alexander Volkov. Paddy Pimblett possibly going to be a co-main event against Rodrigo Vargas. I think that should not be the case. I'd rather see Arnold Allen versus Dan Hooker co-main, or Nikita Krylov, Paul Craig co-main. But I get why they would, his hometown, or not his hometown, but, his neck of the woods out there in that country. And he's got a lot of hype coming around him. So I get it, but, I'd definitely like to see a couple other of those fights be co-main event over the Paddy Pimblett fight. I'm not a big fan of Paddy Pimblett. I don't see that changing. I'm probably going to pick against him till he loses. But we will see. Until next time, till next Tuesday. Stay barbecued. You guys know what it is. Make sure you tune in this weekend. See a bunch of good fights. Dunder Mifflin for life. You guys know what it is. Paper Company. Represent. I already know. Holla at me.